Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janvallabha Givardhari Yasodhanana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Givardhari Yasodhanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yasodhanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yasodhanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Mishra Imagine by grace and Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda ki, ISKCON Brahmachari, by grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Caitanya Caritamrita ki, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga, Gaur Premananda, Hari Hari Ho. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're studying Adi Lila, chapter 17, Caitanya Caritamrita, text number 2, 176. Svamadurya Radha Prema Rasa Sridite. Radha Bhavarangi Koryache Bale Mate. Angi Koryache Bale Mate. Svamadurya Radha Prema Rasa Asvadite. Radha Bhava Angi Karyacha Balamate. Svamadurya Radha Prema Rasa Svadite. Radha Bhava Angi Karyacha Balamate. Svamadurya Radha Prema Rasa Asvadite. Radha Bhava Angi Koryache Balamate. Angi. One more. Svamadurya Radha Prema Rasa Asvadite. Radha Bhava Angi Koryacha Balamate. Samadurya Radha Asvadite. Samadurya Radha Asvadite. Radha Bhava Angi Karyacha Balamate. Samadurya Radha Asvadite. Radha Bhava Angi Karyacha Balamate. Svamadurya, his own conjugal love. Radha Prema Rasa, the mellow of the loving affairs between Radharani and Krishna. Asvadite, to taste. Radha Bhava, the mood of Srimati Radharani. Angikaryache, he accepted. Balamate, very well. Translation, taste the mellow quality of Srimati Radharani's loving affairs in her relationship with Krishna, and to understand the reservoir of pleasure in Krishna, Krishna himself, as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, accepted the mood of Radharani. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, Sri Gaurasundar is Krishna himself with the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never gave up the attitude of the gopis. He remained everlastingly predominated by Krishna, never accepted the part of the predominator by imitating conjugal love with an ordinary woman, as sahajas generally do. He never placed himself in the position of a debauchee, lusty materialist like the members of the Sahajya Sampradaya hanker after women, even others' wives. But when they try to ascribe this responsibility for their lusty activities to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they become offenders to Sarup Damodar and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. In Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Kanda, chapter 15, it is said, Sabe parastira prati nahi parasaha Sri Deki Duri Prabhu Hinu Ekapasa. Sri Chaitanya Prabhu never even joked with others' wives. As soon as he saw a woman coming, he would immediately give her ample room to pass without talking. He was extremely strict regarding association of women. The Sahajas, however, pose as followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although they indulge in lusty affairs with women in his youth. Lord Chaitanya was very humorous with everyone, but he never joked with any woman. Nor in this incarnation did he talk about women. The Gaurangi Nagara party is not approved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Vrindavan Das Thakur, even though one may offer all kinds of prayers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One should strictly avoid worshipping him as the Gauranga Nagara. The personal behavior of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the verses written by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur have completely repudiated the lusty desires of the Gauranga Nagari. Om Agnati Mirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Sundatam Yenat Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Urgame Patmanasya Skalapate Katir Bahusvakripa Yustadanana Shantu Shantu Alambanam. Second, let's do this. Here we are. So, I wrote a few notes here because there's some technical details here and I really want to get it right. I don't want to stumble over any words here. So, we're in this stage of Adi Leela now. We're coming to the end and we've been reading all about Lord Chaitanya from the time he was born as Nimai Pandit to when he was initiated by Ishvara Puri, and he began to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and experience tasting the mellows of Radharani in her love for Krishna. So the mellows, so in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is what we call the nectar of devotion, which is one of the principal books that we read. Anybody who comes to the platform of bhakti gets the nectar of devotion because this was one of the books that was written by Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan to help explain the science of bhakti yoga. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we learn of the symptoms of the mellows of the love of devotion one can develop through love and devotion through to Krishna. Now, these mellows are really outstanding because our experience, I don't know if anybody's hair's been standing on end while they're chanting Hare Krishna. I've never actually seen it, but that just seems to be the first one. Of course, we exhibit symptoms of ecstasy, laughing. Sometimes we do even choke up, but some of these other symptoms. So we've got hair standing on end, limbs withdrawing within the body. What is that? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did exhibit that. And of course we have our famous Jagannath deities, Lord Jagannath, Subhadra and Baladev. What happens there? Their limbs, this is their actual form when they heard
the Rasa Leela and the exploits of Krishna and Gopis being described in a room in Dwarka by Rohini to all the queens, and Krishna was listening, and Balaram touched Krishna and Subhadra touched Krishna. Immediately got that ecstasy. So eyes shooting jet streams of water. You seen that? You got wet from someone? Perspiring blood, teeth incessantly chattering, voice choking up, making gurgling sounds, rolling on the ground in ecstasy, gnashing teeth, fainting or barely breathing. These are all symptoms of ecstasy. And one or more, actually, usually if you have one of these higher ecstatic symptoms of ecstasy, if one gets, but these are pertaining to the Mahabhavas, then there's one or more. There's a whole heap of symptoms like that. So this is the experience that we can have from coming onto the platform of surrendering our heart to Krishna through the process of bhakti. So when Sri Caitanya took sannyas, and this was just a few verses ago here, Krishna Das Kaviraj briefly covered it because he keeps referring to Vrindavan Das Thakur, because this chapter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life was very elaborately covered in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So there was a lot more that Krishna Das Kaviraj had to cover in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so he's very glad to refer people, if you want to know more about it, read the Chaitanya Mahabhagavat. So after taking sannyas, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became more and more immersed in these mellows of love and devotion. He became totally absorbed, and he manifested so many ecstatic symptoms that they were almost like he couldn't control himself, so he had to have so many associates, or he had to have his associates constantly by his side so he wouldn't harm himself when he was overcome by these ecstatic emotions. And they were very easily triggered. In Jagannath Puri, there was so many outstanding incidences where we read in the Antya Leela, a couple of which is when he actually fell into the sea. He mistook it for the Jamuna. And then he was swimming in the ocean and he passed out and he was unconscious. And he got picked up by a fisherman because he got tangled up in a fisherman's net, right? And the fisherman thought he had a big fish. So he's dragging the net into the boat, and there's this wonderful golden form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I don't know if his limbs were withdrawn in that particular leela or not. Do you remember? He was elongated. So that's another symptom. Your limbs become withdrawn, but sometimes they become elongated, and they happen. It happened once to one of the devotees who went to India. Well, this is a rabbit hole. But anyway, it's a good story. I'd like to remind myself about this devotee called Savaksha. I think some of the older devotees remember Savaksha. And he went to India, and the first time he went to India, he came back, and he got some disease, and all his limbs were disconnected. He could hardly walk. He had to be carried. And then this is the early days, so he got sent to hospital. But in hospital, he didn't get any food. Nobody brought him any food. So he came back to the temple, and we had Buckingham Street. It's a very, very small temple. So we put him on the ground in his sleeping bag and a mattress where we ate prasadam. And that was on the ground floor. And we'd been dancing so ecstatically on the first floor that the floor began to buckle. Were you ever there? So we had all these scaffolding holding up the first floor. And so whenever there was ecstatic dancing, chanting going on, Savaksha would be on the ground floor and all this dust and everything would be dropping down from the floor onto the top of him. He survived, but he got fed. I just remember that. But he didn't actually, his limbs weren't separated out of ecstasy. It was just some sort of bug that he caught. So anyway, Lord Caitanya, the fisherman, he brings Lord Caitanya onto the boat and sees this golden form, and he touches Lord Caitanya. Immediately his hairs stand on next to him. He starts chanting, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, and he's jumping up and down his boat. And at that point in time, all the devotees go, where's Caitanya? Where's our blessed, where's the Lord? Where's Lord Caitanya? They're looking for him everywhere. And then they see this fisherman jumping up and down ecstatically, and he brings Lord Caitanya, and once again they recover. And he was unconscious, just in his Mahabhava, in his Leela as a gopi, just helping serve Krishna. So another time he mistook the sand dunes on the beach for Govardhana Hill. He goes running towards Govardhana Hill, what he thought was Govardhana Hill, but they were just sand dunes. So anything could trigger him like that. So the devotees would be watching him. So when that happened, he would pass out and be transported to Krishna Leela in the spiritual world, and his body would be barely showing the symptoms of life. We have that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Remember when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he fainted in the Jagannath temple, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is holding up a cotton bud in front of his nose to see if it moves, because there was no life signs. So that's an exhibition of the symptoms of ecstasy. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he perspiring blood, he had all of those, his ears, his eyes. Just we have the picture in the Caitanya Charitamrita where they were just streaming forth tears and inundating all the devotees who would be ecstatic that they were getting a shower of tears from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Harinam Sankirtans. So, and then the devotees would bring him back to life and bring him back to consciousness. And he'd go, why did you do that? Why did you bring me back? I was with Krishna. And he would mildly admonish them and be very disappointed. Oh, you've taken me away from Krishna, back to reality. So this was his life. So, but all these ecstasies, they were experienced in the mood of Srimati Radharani. It's like Srila Prabhupada says in the translation here, that although Lord Chaitanya came as Krishna, still he exhibited the mood of Radharani. So it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5, forget what verse, Krishna Varnam, you know that sloka, Krishna Varnam Prasad, Krishnam Sangapangas Parshadam, Japde Sankirtana Prayeya Janti Hi Sumedasa. Famous verse that in the Bhagavatam, this describes that in the age of Kali, intelligent persons will perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of the Lord, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates and his confidential companions. So Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna himself, but we understand that come in the mood of devotee. This is what this sloka is all about. They exhibit all these ecstatic symptoms of divine bliss, which is Satchidananda Vigraha. That's the constitutional nature of the spirit soul, isn't it? Satchitananda, eternity, knowledge and bliss, full of bliss, because Vigraha, because we associate with the personal form of Krishna. Just as a note that this beautiful divine madness, as we call it, or spiritual bliss, was noted, and then the historians, sometimes the mundane Kami historians, would say, yes, Chaitanya, this is the British, he was a great saint and he was a great scholar, because we know his prowess as a great scholar when he was young, but he went mad. That his rigid following of bhakti principles, he followed the process too rigidly, and he became insane. So this was like a historical treatise. So this is the another direction that the scholars, the mundane scholars, take when their knowledge is actually incomplete. Mayaparita Gyanas. So this began like we've just finished the incident. We're just flipping over. This is the first time in this whole Adi Lila we're talking about Krishna and the gopis. Before that, this Sri Chaitanya's evolution. Now he's become a sannyasi. But just before that, he was initiated by Ishvara Puri, and this is where his emotions of love of Godhead, he evoked the emotion of love of Godhead, and simultaneously he come down to fulfill his purpose, because his other purpose is, as we know, to spread the names of Krishna throughout the world and give love of Godhead to everybody. This is the process. This is the yajna for this age. So, as I said previous some lectures, Satyayuga, the yajna was meditation. We would sit very nicely like this, not only for 1 hour, but for 1,000 years or maybe 10,000 years, and really still the mind and focus on the super soul within, and we would be transported to the spiritual realms. But if we couldn't sit still for that long, then we would thrust into the next stage, which was Dwapara Yuga, right? So in Dwapara Yuga, we'd perform all these elaborate fire sacrifices. We'll all be sitting there chanting all the different mantras, svaha, and so many complicated mantras, and so many wonderful things would be coming out of the fire. And the demigods that would be there to receive their share of the sacrifices, and Lord Vishnu would come. But if we got the mantras wrong, we'd fail, and we wouldn't make it back to Godhead. So here we are. Then we'd be put into Dwapara Yuga. So in Dwapara Yuga, all those people who've been to India have seen all the beautiful, elaborate temples that were there. So that was the process, temple worship, worshipping the deities. And we have, what's the Narad Muni Pancharatrika, isn't it? Is that the system of deity worship? Narad. Very complicated, right? Very elaborate. So we'd be performing that, but something go wrong. We get something wrong. It's very, very complicated system. And somewhere the faults are increasing, Satyayuga, we're all got all the good qualities, but then there's 3 qualities, 3/4 the qualities of mercy, compassion, honesty, and tolerance. So we're sort of slowly losing these qualities as we're going through the ages, and we didn't make it in temple worship, so we're here in Kali Yuga. So we're welcome to Kali Yuga. What do we do now? Fortunately, Srila Prabhupada, in disciplic succession, has given us the process. Chanting Hare Krishna is the way forward, and it's the way to achieve liberation. And it's like a shortcut. Somehow or other, we've ended up here, and here's our chance. Here's our portal. Get out of this material world in Kali Yuga, which is almost unheard of, because Manda Samanda, Mate, Amanda, Bhagya, Upadrata, so much quarrel, laziness, and everything against the qualities of religion, as we're witnessing right now. So Nimai Pandit, he began this process simultaneously as experiencing that love of Krishna, and then he took sannyasa, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he, in Navadvip, converted so many thousands upon hundreds of thousands of devotees to chant Hare Krishna, just like in this Adi Lila we just finished discussing Chandkazi. So how many people came to the demonstration when Chandkazi said, no more chanting? He brought the whole of Navadvip, hundreds and thousands of devotees chanting, hooray, hooray, roaring like an ocean. So it was a real big movement, but unfortunately, large groups of students, they did not accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were so attached to the rules and regs of the Vedas, and they performing all their fruitive activities, all their jagnas or whatever, smata brahmanas, that's where the money was. So then they saw that they perceived this process of devotional service as being something sentimental, and they criticised Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit, at that point in time, especially when he was manifesting symptoms of his ecstatic symptoms, which were just beginning after his initiation with Ishvarapuri, and was saying that he is so wealthy, look at him, he's got a beautiful wife, he's got everything he needs, and so he doesn't have to perform all the rigid austerities like what we're doing and chant the shastras and follow the all the different rules and regulations. So they were thinking like that. But what that was is just mundane consciousness. They were just attached to rules and regulations and attached to wealth, and they were also attached to women. So there was the mundane mentality of these people who were criticising, and they couldn't see the difference between what is spiritual, what is material. They were just caught up in their own in their own system. So as a result, that the knowledge was useless. So Bhagavad Gita describes these people as Mayapayati Gyanis, the ones whose knowledge is stolen by illusion. So this prompted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take sannyas, but even there was no need for it. The criticism was just completely unfounded, because even when he was married to the most beautiful ladies, they were goddesses of fortune, and they were acting in the capacity of goddesses of fortune in the mood of awe and reverence. So, and he was also, as stated here, very careful in his association with women, that he would never actually joke with other people's wives, and he avoided talking to women just to set an example. But as a sannyasi, he knew that he would get the respect, and then that would also give him the freedom to experience that love of Krishna in the mood of vipralamba, in the association of Radharani, in their ecstasy of separation from Krishna. So he took sannyas to experience these things, and he also took sannyas to help spread that Yuga Dharma for the benefit of us people who are sitting here. So then we know he travelled and preached all over India in the south, and he also instructed Lord Nityananda to preach in every town, village, particularly in Bengal and Bangladesh. And then we know he instructed the Goswamis to excavate Vrindavan and establish the principles of bhakti, just like he said, the bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But he himself remained in Jagadhapuri, continuously relishing this devotional reciprocal devotion in the mood of Radharani with Krishna and the gopis. And he had some intimate devotees with him, and he was staying in the Gundicha temple. And this room, no, not the Gundicha Gambhira. Flip a coin, Gambhira temple. Who's been to Gambhira temple? It's almost a must for any devotee who goes to India. They want to go to Jagannath Puri, and one of those beautiful places you can go to is the Gambhira temple. And you see his room. It was only a really small room. There's still some of his chapel is there, his shoes are there, his water pot is still, I don't know if it's still there or not, used to be. But what's really interesting is that there's a shortcut that you go through these back doorways, and less than 100 metres you end up in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. So this is where Lord Chaitanya used to go to take meals and associate. So it's a very special area, and there's that very beautiful lake which is called, where all the devotees used to bathe after Rath Yatra. Forget the name of the kund, the little kund near there. So this was Lord Chaitanya's residence, and he would stay there, and devotees, as we were saying, they would look after him while he's exhibiting wonderful symptoms of love for Krishna. At one point in time, he heard very, very wonderful voice, beautiful melody I think they were singing Dust Stroked from memory. I didn't have a chance to look it up. The 10 incarnations of Krishna was some beautiful melody about Krishna, and he became enchanted and he wanted to embrace that person who was singing so nicely. So he went, "Hello, nice to see you too." Yeah, Krishna can see you as well. Oh, basically, proper, really good. So he was chasing after this person. Where is that person? Where is that person? So beautiful. And Govardhana is running up to him, running after him, just full pelt. And then he tackles him and he brings him down to the ground. He goes, "It's a woman." And I was just stunned, because Sri Caitanya, for him to embrace a woman would have been, "Thank you so much, you've saved my life." You know? He was just listening to the ecstasy of the melodies. So this was the devotees that were looking after him, and in the end he became, so driven by his love for Krishna that he was grinding his face in the ground, and the devotees said they have to look after him all the time. Someone stayed with him. So this is the mood. This is the mood. Radharani, Lord Chaitanya is golden. So it says he's not black. He is Krishna, but he's not black. He's golden because he's exhibiting the mood of Radharani. But Srila Prabhupada talks at length here about the Sahajas and the Gaura-nagaris. So I'd sort of skipped over and seen much about Gaura-nagaris before. So then I just did a bit of research on them, and they were prominent in Bengal and Bangladesh shortly after Sri Chaitanya, maybe during Sri Chaitanya or after Sri Chaitanya came. And they had they're called the Sampradaya, because they based their belief that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna, right? So we're discussing here that Lord Chaitanya is the mood of Radharani, but no, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. And the philosophy in that was based on the fact that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in his three-armed form, which was Sabudraj. So what arms were they? He had 6 arms. You remember? 2 arms of Lord Ram, they were green. Krishna, they were black, and 2 arms of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was 3 in 1, right? So they're saying this is the Lord in his incarnation, so therefore he's all the same, so we can worship Chaitanya and Krishna at the same time, which is not right. It's because actually they're all different avatars for different ages and different leelas. I was trying to think of an example. I thought of a mundane example, like say have some occupation like we're a policeman, right? So then you go to work and you put on your police uniform and your cap, and you get a gun, and you get get this fantastic belt with all these goodies on it, right? And you go and police your precinct. But then when you're finished, you come and you become another person. You become yourself, like that. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was relishing Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So it was wrong for these Gaura-nagaris to think, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, and they would place Krishna there, Lord Chaitanya as Krishna, and they would perform Gopi Leela and everything like that, like Lord Chaitanya is relishing that Leela with the Gopis. But actually, Lord Chaitanya is relishing the mood of the Gopis, so it's very different. So Lord Chaitanya embodied, as I said, Radharani, the golden complexion of Radha. So Radha, she was the servant of Krishna, so she comes in the mood of the devotee, and this is Lord Chaitanya. It's called Chana Avatar. It means the hidden. No, the golden incarnation. What's hidden mean? What's the Sanskrit for hidden? Chana. Oh, is it? I thought it was golden. Okay. So it's a hidden incarnation. So sometimes people come up in India and in here, they say, you talk about Chaitanya as an avatar, but there's only 3 in the yugas there. There's the black, red, and white. Where's the golden one? He's hidden. He comes as a devotee. He doesn't come as God. He doesn't And if you actually address him as God, as devotees used to do, he'd hide his ears and go, Vishnu, 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 I'm not God. So he would not accept the fact that he was God, that he was a devotee, just to teach everybody a lesson. That as the devotee, this is what you do. So the Gauranagaris, they sort of meditate him as the supreme enjoyer. It's Krishna, Lord Chaitanya is the supreme enjoyer, and then he enjoys with the gopis, so then they become contaminated, and they also have tried to enjoy like Krishna, and Prabhupada was saying they have lusty affairs with single women and others' wives, saying that they are doing it in the mood of Caitanya. So this mood, we haven't come across it, but it was very prevalent, especially when Bhaktivinoda Thakur was trying to find the Caitanya Caritamrita and find out about Lord Chaitanya, that he'd come across these people, so many different sampradayas or asampradayas. The best example was that there was some yogi who had some mystic powers who said he was Krishna or Krishna, and then he was luring everybody's wives and having a rasa dance. In other words, he was having illegal illicit sexual affairs with these wives, and the villagers complained, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur as a magistrate had to check him, and there was a severe incident because this yogi used his mystic powers to try and kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur is such a strong devotee, Lord Krishna protected him, and he still put this fellow in jail, and he realised while this fellow was in jail he was still acting out these powers, so then he ordered the policeman to shave his head, cut his hair, because he kept all his power in his hair. And once he shaved his hair, all the powers were gone, and then he was punished for his devious activities. So this is the seed of bhakti. So the mood of Radharani. So what is the mood of Radharani? So Lord Chaitanya left us a legacy. He only left 8 prayers for us, and that's the Shishtakam. So all the people here in the temple this morning, we chanted the Shishtakam, the 8 prayers to Lord Chaitanya. And they're just wonderful prayers where they exhibit the mood, like the last verse is, I don't care if you treat me roughly by your embrace or make me broken hearted before me. You're free to do anything and everything, for you're always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. That's verse number 8. All the other verses are very prolific. So if we chant these verses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and go through the Parampara system and read the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and chant Hare Krishna, we are on this path where we can relish that love and devotion ultimately between the soul and Krishna. Thank you very much. One quick question. Anyone? Comment? I have a comment to make. Can someone put the plates and cups out there on the table? Nobody did it this morning for all the people to eat. It's my comment. Run. Anybody else? Okay, Joe, thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
In the purport,
yeah.
the Gora Nagari was mentioned, but from my reading, it sounds a bit, Prabhupada used that term in kind of negative way.
In a negative way.
Negative way. So
Yeah.
could you tell me more about Gora Nagari?
No, this was the Gora Nagaris I'm talking about, that they think Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, right? So the verse says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he is Krishna, but he's Krishna in the mood of, and Radha. So Chaitanya is in the mood of Radharani. But they say, no, we're just worshipping Krishna, like that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. So Krishna is the enjoyer. You know, Krishna's supreme enjoyer. Radharani is the enjoyed. She's the gopi. She's the servant. So Chaitanya comes in the mood of a servant. See? But these other people make the mistake, no, we worship Krishna as the enjoyer, Lord Chaitanya is the enjoyer, but then they make this mistake that we're enjoying too, and then they sort of fall into different traps like being attracted to other ladies and everything like that. This is a sampradaya. That's why Chaitanya, we chant the prayers, Shistaka prayers, in the mood of a go. This Lord Chaitanya's prayer is always in a very, very humble mood as a servant of Krishna, right? So Lord Chaitanya never exhibits himself as Krishna, so we don't worship Sri Chaitanya as Krishna, just as in the mood of loving service. So when people say to Lord Chaitanya, you are Krishna yourself, you are Krishna, he goes, no, I'm a servant of Krishna. So he is giving us the example. He's exemplary. That's why he took sannyas, he performed all these austerities. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he came as a devotee. This is his leela. Like Lord Ramachandra came as a king, big king, powerful king, right? And he ruled the people. And so Lord Chaitanya, he comes as a devotee to give us this Prema Bhakti Yojakali. So we understand the mood of Lord Chaitanya. We know that Lord Chaitanya is not in the mood of Krishna, the enjoyer, is in the mood of a devotee. So the Gauranagas, they mistake Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna and he's come in the mood of Krishna to enjoy the gopis. But Lord Chaitanya comes as a gopi to enjoy service to Krishna. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Go on, thank you.
One of the things with the Gauranga Nagaris is they worship Mahaprabhu as Krishna, particularly in this mood of alampato, debauchery, so they can enjoy, because they call him Gauranga Nagara and then themselves Nagari, the follower, so they can take this licentious behavior and have relationships with whoever they like, and so that's why they're, because if you look at it externally, it seems like it's Krishna conscious, because they're worshipping Lord Chaitanya as Krishna, but it's a rasa basa approach, because they're not actually understanding that he's simultaneously Krishna, but he's different from Krishna. They're not understanding it, and they take this mood of wanting to worship the, or wanting to follow these Krishna's pastimes in the forest of Vrindavan with the gopis and things
they
like that.
go out into the forest with
you see them
just
in
like
Mayapur.
You see them.
You see them in Mayapur, and they have so many girlfriends, and
those guys that come to Mayapur, that's what it is.
Well, they get different. You get the owls, you get the bals, you get different types coming.
You actually, now that you mentioned it, you see it. Yeah, I've seen it.
And they have these jamborees. They come together. They have these jamborees, and they engage in wife swapping.
There's always this sort of person looks like Krishna in the middle. He's got long hair, and he's got all these women that come in, follow him wherever they're going, and they come into Mayapur.
Yeah.
That makes it done.
But people
get
really confused with them because it looks externally like they're practicing.
He looks
Krishna.
like, well, this guy's a saint, you know. Yeah. Thank you very much for helping explain a little bit further. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Hare Krishna. Yeah.